Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, with many teams in particularly precarious positions right now in terms of the CDL standings. Clayster is sitting there on the bench trying to get a spot back in the league. He reckons he's better than 6 of the main assault rifles right now. Will a team give him an opportunity over this coming month? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy the video. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Spart, MVP of this major. Unbelievable storyline. Like just some great pictures, videos, all this type of stuff coming out from this past weekend. Like just the craziest storyline ever. I see these images, I'm like, I have to put it in the intro because it's just too good. Now, well, let's talk about this because quite a way away until we get to the Major 3 qualifiers. You guys can see right here, it's Saturday the 14th, where the first games go on, at least for the Florida Mutineers of the season. They play Optic Texas round 1, so they're thinking that's rather interesting, right? Because of course they just beat them to knock them out of the tourney. How will the teams look then? A very different question mark. Back to the drawing board for some of them, but of course, well, many teams we saw also in this graphic right here, Minnesota Rokkr, Los Angeles Guerrillas, we'll see how that one goes. Trolltra, will they be turned around? Some teams might be looking to make some sort of moves. Could Doug St. Martin come into the Boston Breach? Maybe that's the master plan. I do wonder how this goes exactly with Doug, because of course you don't imagine he's going to get a starting spot anytime soon. I think he's technically been signed as like a content creator / ambassador, but I'm pretty sure Zed also did say that if they need a sub, they can kind of like change his contract relatively easily to give him access to actually be a substitute for the roster. But right now they don't want to put him on that contract because it prevents him streaming during CDL match time hours, all this type of stuff. But Doug obviously wants to compete. That's the plan. He wants to get back in the CDL. So okay, maybe this is the master plan from Doug St. Martin, right? Because obviously right now they came top 6 first major, then top 3 second major, with an arguably very easy run. Let's say they get a harder run next time, they come top 6 again or something, then Doug is making the case, look, the team fell off, you gotta put me in, baby. I wouldn't be surprised if he's trying to plot or scheme something or other behind the scenes at the moment. Before we talk about what Clayster might be trying to plot and scheme behind the scenes, gotta mention real quick the kind of search and destroy win streak all-time records. As Round 11 Stats points out, over the last 5 seasons or so, the longest win streak in search and destroy is 12, held by Gen G. LAG actually have a chance to tie this or even set a new record because they are currently on 10. So during the CDL era, the record is only 8, right, from Atlanta FaZe. Pretty incredible. World War II, Black Ops 4 Optic Gaming, they got to 9, 10, something in this ballpark. The Gen G team during Black Ops 4 got to 12. Like, I think I remember this actually, because if you guys have been around a few years, you'll remember that they were kind of swapping around Spacely in the roster. They're bringing Spacely in, taking Spacely out. And when Spacely was in the team, they were terrible at respawns, but unbelievably good at search and destroy. They could not lose a search. I think they swapped him out and still went on a 12 win streak. And then when they got rid of Spacely, their search and destroy went to like 50-50, but they got way better on respawn. So it was a really interesting team. Los Angeles Guerrillas have a chance to tie and even break that record if they can win just a couple more search and destroys. So that's sure, of course, the winner of the event this past weekend with the Los Angeles Guerrillas. Thought this was a beautiful Lion Man card just to say, because we're going to talk about Clayster in a second, thinking he's better than, well, the majority of the assault rifles in the league. Maybe he put Slasher in that category, and then this weekend, maybe Slasher kind of changed his mind a little bit. Who knows? Like, it's kind of funny. I saw a post on Reddit about how, like, no cap Slasher is an absolute demon, because Slasher always used to wear like the snapback at events and stuff, right? And that used to give him all his powers, and now he's taken that off, and actually maybe that's the way to go instead. So pretty interesting stuff. Slasher is Thanos. If you guys kind of don't know the lore behind that, we'll do a documentary on the Breaking Point channel sooner rather than later. But still, pro tournaments, he's played 64 pro tourneys, average placing of 6 or so, 63% win rate, 17 finals appearances, 8 tournament wins, 1 world championship ring for back in the Black Ops 3 days on Team Envy, and an average COD Champs KD of 1.17. That's pretty impressive stuff. And in terms of the all-time assault rifle list, he's probably there or thereabouts right behind. I mean, I think it's Clayster and Formal in whatever order you want to do that one, and then, probably Clayster number 1 because he has 3 rings, then Formal, then Slasher not too far behind. But anyway, this is Clayster says, tag the teams that get knocked out just in case they need a main assault rifle. I'm better than 50% of mains at this current moment. I've been benched for weeks. I want you to tag all 6 that I am talking about. So Clay didn't want to tag anyone himself. This, of course, on the 2nd of April, before Slasher goes on to win the event. But many questions. Is this an opportunity for Clayster? Can he get back in the league? Of course, he gets benched from the subliners not too long ago now. 19th of March, it becomes official. He wants to still compete. He wants to get back in a team at some point or another, whether it's this season, whether it's next season. Like, he doesn't, obviously, he wants to get back as soon as possible, but like, he wants to keep competing. That's his number 1 goal. That's his number 1 aim. Will an opportunity be available? He got pretty much bodied on the subliners, but we have Sin players, right, that get, difficult team environments, they get destroyed. Like, the skill, I think, is certainly still there for Clayster. He was great last year at a time right at the start of the year, then he kind of had a difficult time towards the end of the season. Another team might give him a shot, but it's difficult really to know which team would actually need a guy like Clayster or like want a guy like Clayster's services, especially given the whole behind the scenes stuff that would be somewhat difficult to figure out, given, contracts and buyouts and all these implications that a guy like Clayster will have on whatever contract he's on at the New York Subliners, you would well imagine. This past weekend, he went to Minnesota with the intention to, scheme to some degree, he said in this tweet, right, talk to some players that are struggling at the bar, at the casino after the fact, and try and squirm his way onto another squad. So the reverse sweep guys have their thoughts on this kind of, transfer situation for Clayster, right? Talking about, okay, which ARs is he actually better than? Is he actually better than 6 in the league, or is that a little bit of an exaggeration, right? Given, as Parasite says, he was pretty much getting stomped on for the first few weeks of this year on the New York subliners, but also going on to say that, like, look, if you're going to pick up an AR player right now, or are you going to pick up a guy like Scrappy from Changers, who's just won the Changers Open with the Ultra North America Academy, or are you going to go for a guy like Clayster with kind of what you know what you're going to get from him, but also on the tail end of his career, yes, he adds the leadership factor, but this year with the best teams having assault rifles, they're absolutely frying out of control. Like, is he actually the best pick?
Clay actually, throughout this weekend, tweeted there's 6 main ARs currently in the league that he's better than. He specifically said 6. He didn't name anybody.
Oh, wait, let's think.
So I'm gonna say the Paris, Tom Gravity. I'm gonna say Florida. I guess Skies or Dave Patty. Probably Dave Patty. Skies runs a flex.
Skies is in the main AR. I learned that the hard way, supposedly.
Even though he is a main AR. Anyway, so yeah, those 2.
Octane. I'm assuming he's saying Octane. Definitely not. Maybe he thought he's better in Slasher until this event.
He probably did.
Listen,
you think he's
either way,
Crim in that maybe?
Probably.
100%. Either way, he's
either way, besides maybe like 1 player, 2 players, I think that's complete bullshit. And I say this because I say this to Clay because he's my homie. But bro,
Lamar.
He's been getting fried. He was getting 360 World Star turned on while he was playing. No. That's not to say that he couldn't come back and fry, because we were just talking about the whole theme of the episode is like new environments can just bring players to
our careers.
Their peak for P4. Yeah.
But look at our careers. Like, bro, you're only as good as like the environment you're in, right? Like, and the team. Are you taking Scrappy or are you taking Clay? If you were choosing between the 2, who are you picking? Because it's like, what are we going off of, right? Like, we know what Clay's capable of, right? Like a GOAT of Call of Duty, cemented. But then you have Scrappy, who's like insanely talented up and comer, who's proven himself every year. If you're a CDL team, what should you rolling the dice on? I say most CDL teams are going to lead the way of Scrappy.
It's just a typical like, it's 18. Hard. It's the typical 18 and cracked. Like, we're trying to find the next Simp. We're going to go for the young guy.
It's hard to justify, and I think Clay's in a bad spot, and it's going to really hurt his chances on getting on a team currently in the CDL.
And that's the problem.
Happens, totally different scenario, but
that's the problem with just being a veteran.
It's like in Clay's skill, it's not like his skill just disappeared. Yeah. So what do you bet on? Do you bet on the young gun, or do you bet on someone who's proven himself?
Yeah.
It's tough. I feel bad
off franchises. For Clay. I think we know what they do. Going off what franchises have done historically, I think we know what choice they're going to make.
Unfortunately for Clay, I don't think he gets on a team this year.
So let's try and break down which of the 6 assault rifles Clayster might be talking about right here. This I thought was pretty funny actually yesterday, like Candice replies with Sig 6. I'd never seen this graphic before, so absolutely beautiful stuff. But yeah, I imagine that Clayster kind of had Crimsix in his conversation for who he thought he was a better AR than. Of course, we kind of know that, Crim and Clayster had that kind of internal struggle for power over at the subliners, and Crim was saying, look, we want to get Clayster gone, bring this team in. Clay was like, look, I want to get Crimsix gone and keep this team, and of course the team decided to go the direction they started to go. But well, look, these are the participants in the league this year. Let's just have a quick dive through into what ARs Clayster might think he's better than, because it's honestly kind of tough to find 6, to be honest. I don't know how many realistically he actually is better than. I mean, like, I don't know. Dashy, certainly not. Zero, I think definitely not. Like, I think Zero is still top 3, top 4 assault rifle in the game right now. Methods might have overtaken him, like, especially these past weekends, but maybe Clayster had Methods in his discussion, which might be valid, but like, Methods has been frying lately, you can't deny it. Crimsix, I think, probably is there or thereabouts. Like, it's a question mark. What's more valuable to the squad? Arcitys, I don't think you can argue either. So already there's like 4, and like Slasher maybe before the event you could argue, but like now you definitely can't argue that Clayster's better than Slasher, right? So already that's 5 out of the top 6 that like just have to be better than Clay right now. So that's already pretty tough. Maybe if you look at like a guy like Dave Paddy, because maybe Dave Paddy technically is kind of the main AR for Florida. He's generally the one that's usually using it. So, I can kind of see that argument. Like accuracy as well. Maybe you can see the argument that Clay's better than accuracy. I think relatively similar players actually in terms of what they bring to this team. Then we've got maybe MajorManiak over over at the Minnesota Rokkr. So, you know, like, if Clayster is considering maybe Crimsix, that's 1, Dave Paddy, that's 2, Accuracy, that's 3, like, I guess MajorManiak, that's 4, Gravity is 5, and then, of course, you've got to find one out of it. Maybe you think he's better than Octane, which I guess is 6, which could be viable. Like, Insight obviously has been pretty good, especially in the Search and Destroys, so maybe Clay has a case. At the same time, do any of these teams benefit from bringing Clay in? Like, let's say you're Florida Mutineers, you bring in Clay instead of Dave Paddy. Like, I kind of like that. I think the team does need some leadership. I think they might have additional consistency with Clayster. Is it actually the greatest idea, though? Do they want to spend the money? Maybe not. And they also just had a pretty decent result, so probably don't want to make a change anyway. Like, at a team like Seattle, they've just been looking great, had a fantastic major. If Mac wasn't unwell, maybe they even do better. Top 4, top 3, certainly was possible that event, if not even better, given what Los Angeles Guerrillas did to beat these guys in a game 5. And I'm not sure that given the relationship that Accuracy has built up with the rest of these guys on the team, like whether bringing Clay in for Accuracy is actually an upgrade at all. If anything, it probably gets rid of that chemistry that already was there. I'm not sure you're necessarily getting a firepower upgrade with Clayster, given what we saw so far this year. Maybe Minnesota Rokkr, right? Like, there's an option there, reunite Clayster and attach. That could work. At the same time, like, we've really seen so far this year, the trend is from subliners, and it might well be the trend of what a team like Los Angeles Thieves decide to do, that it makes more sense for your kind of flex-ish player to be the main assault rifle and, like, effectively get rid of your main AR. And I think we saw that to a degree with what was going on with the Los Angeles Guerrillas. Slasher traditionally has been a very aggressive main AR and a very fast-paced main AR. Like, and with Sparts coming in instead of Gunless, that now freed Slasher up to actually play at that pace and, like, be a lot more impactful. And bringing Clayster into one of these teams may actually go counter to that kind of conventional wisdom that may be getting established right now here in Vanguard. So, tough situation, I think, for Clay. Of course, there was some talk about Scrappy, right, whether he's an option for some teams. This is a great video, to be honest, that Crone tweeted out last night. There was some drama around this that kind of surprised me, because Scrappy, you know, he's coming out with pretty standard Call of Duty trash talk. He's calling the guys trash on the other side of the stage. He's hyping up his teammates. Like, this is standard stuff. This is why we love Call of Duty lands. Like, you know, some of it, I don't really think any of this crossed the line to me. Like, he didn't really say anything particularly, you know, personal or whatever. Like, he was just calling his opponents trash, pretty much just standard stuff, saying, you know, how are you even here? You're choking in grand finals. Generally, I thought just relatively entertaining. This did spark a bit of controversy, though, because, you know, people were coming out and saying, even Adam aBeZy saying in the replies, this is not cool and not okay. The type of sportsmanship, this type of sportsmanship needs to end. And I believe there was even like a referee from the event in the replies saying, if I was reffing this match, this guy, you know, I'd be telling him, like, he's not allowed to do this. He'd be getting forfeited, like kind of what happened to their, you know, Grand Series we looked at a few days ago, where they got forfeited a series for saying things that were probably worse than this, in fairness. But I was surprised by some of the response, really, because you're not going to shut these guys down. It's part of, I don't know, it's part of the culture, part of the passion. I thought this is something you kind of want to see. The passion's good. Maybe sometimes the way that it is expressed isn't exactly ideal, and it can be a bit cringe, right? You know how these things go at events. But I was surprised at kind of some of the negative press coverage that he was getting as well. But in fairness, you know, all publicity might be good publicity for a guy like Scrappy, right? Like, now people know his name. He won the Challenges event right here. Like, as even the guys on the podcast were saying on the reverse street, right? If you're going to bring in a main AR, like, you know, Scrappy might be a guy to consider as opposed to Clayster. I believe Scrappy even like went on stream to kind of explain himself and stuff like this. But Wazy says he shouldn't even have to explain himself, bro. Guy was literally throwing this event, just his passion showing, overreaction from the community, in my opinion. So yeah, definitely different opinions on this. You guys can have your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below, as per usual. Just did want to mention this though, because these are the standings right now post Major 2. There's only 30 points separating team all the way up from up in 6th through to 8th, then down to 11th in the CDL standings. Only 8 teams make it through, of course, to the World Championship. This really says to me, if you look at these numbers right here, like Los Angeles Thieves are actually way behind, because I believe number 5 is at Los Angeles Guerrillas at 115 points. So they're 45 points behind already the 5th seed so far for Champs. That's a major gap. Like, 45 points is a big gap, to be honest. Like, that's what, 4.5 series wins. And New York only have 4 series wins this entire season so far, so they're going to have to turn it around quickly. To get out of the top 8, obviously there's like a 30-point gap right here to get into the top 8. Look at these teams that are down here, right? Toronto, Minnesota, New York, all into bottom 4 right now. Paris Sedano, of course, in 12th. But right now, if I'm one of these teams in this pack, you have to improve ASAP, because we are halfway through the collection point for points, right? We're, you know, stage 1, stage 2, Major 1, Major 2 is done. Like, you've only got 2 more of these to go before champ seeding is set. Therefore, you've got to improve rapidly. I would personally be surprised if teams like Toronto, Minnesota stick it out, right? Because, like, if they continue sticking it out the way they go, they're not going to make champs. It seems unlikely with the competition in the league, with the fact that Florida, London, like, you know, Los Angeles Guerrillas are up there this year. Like, you don't have the room to play with, to be honest. So maybe it is Doug Sent to Martin or Clayster season, but yeah, just to finish out the video with this, Black Ops 2 customization packs. Back in the day when you could, you know, just buy a camo effectively, you need to be able to use it on all your weapons. But yeah, just good times. I saw this yesterday. Thought it was good to reminisce. But very much intrigued to your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. Tells the YouTube gods this is a good video. I'd just like you should see it as well. And hope grow the the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always, take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.